Well, in part one, we covered up to the intrinsic element of pitch. Now we're going to cover the other two intrinsic elements, which are color and shape, and we're going to really sort of cover them together because they sort of come together in the clarinet mouthpiece. They come together in the chamber of the mouthpiece. The sidewalls, if you'll notice to look down a mouthpiece, you'll be able to see that some mouthpieces have wider sidewalls than others. In other words, they're further apart or closer together. Okay, that's what you would call the control of the shape of the sound. There are other factors too, of course, because the mouthpiece is kind of an interdependent, integrated whole, but the primary controllers of the shape of the sound are going to be the sidewalls. The closer the sidewalls are, the more concentrated and focused the shape will be, and will assist you in creating a truly characteristic clarinet sound. Beautiful shape. The further apart those sidewalls are, you'd say the more lyrical the sound might be, but the less it's going to be concentrated and the less it's going to carry. It's going to be more of a vocal sound, or I don't want to say a pop vocal sound, but it's going to be more like natural singing as opposed to operatic singing. Now, what about the color of the sound? Well, a number of factors really determine the color in the mouthpiece, but the primary factor is the baffle and the total volume, of course. Of course, the larger that mouthpiece is inside the total volume with the bore and the baffle, bore in the chamber, the lower the pitch is going to be. But that's also going to affect the color because low pitches tend to be a little darker, a little warmer, and have more depth, obviously, right? But you do have different shaped baffles. Some of those baffles are what you call ski slope shape. They move like that down the bore. And then other of the baffles are more straight and really quite flat from one sidewall to the next. And then you finally have what I call a double concave baffle, and that is it's going from tip into the bore. It's scooped out, and also going from wall to wall, sidewall to sidewall. It's also scooped out. Usually these are pretty deep chambered baffles, and they're going to really warm up your sound and give a lot of depth to the sound. Usually mouthpieces that have double concave baffles that are really deep, they are compensated for in order to complement the depth of the sound with the focus of the sound that are complemented with sidewalls that are pretty tight and pretty close in there. My professional mouthpiece, my MT36, that is a mouthpiece like that. It's a double concave baffle with very tight sidewalls. Other mouthpieces like that are some of the traditional Shedville mouthpieces or Shedville copies, like you would find in the Janusa or the Giotti, or other mouthpieces of that kind of ilk. So those will get you deeper sounds, but also more concentrated pitch too, because of the concentrated shape, because of the sidewalls. The only way you can see this, there are no numbers or measurements that you can give. The only way you can see this is just by picking one mouthpiece up and picking another mouthpiece up and looking right down the mouthpiece from the tip down through the bore, or looking at the mouthpiece from the cork end up and watching the light move on the inside, and then you can really see and compare mouthpiece to mouthpiece. So those are the things, the sidewalls and the baffle, that are controlling primarily the shape and the color. So we've covered pitch, we've covered shape, and we've covered color. And with the knowledge that we've shared so far, you should be able to pick up a mouthpiece and visually examine it and get some idea relative to other mouthpieces what kind of mouthpiece that is. But there's more. We at Ridenour Clarinet Products produce these videos to help educate players and educators about the clarinet and clarinet equipment. If you have been helped by the information in this and other RCP presentations, please subscribe and be sure to share it with your friends and teachers. Thanks for listening.